Welcome back to the CrossPoints podcast.
All right, we're in December.
Yes,
Woo-hoo!
December. I love December.
Me too.
So excited.
Can I tell you, Christmas is like my favorite time of the year.
No, it's not.
It's not just a cliche. I really believe that.
When do you start celebrating Christmas?
Well, I have a theory about this. Okay.
Okay.
We haven't talked about it. I like to wait to celebrate Christmas because I want it to be meaningful. I think that people that start in October, and I know some people that start in October, I know who you are. You people drive me crazy.
Right
No, are you? We haven't talked about this. What?
Oh, yeah.
You guys drive me crazy.
I probably started in July. I don't know.
Because then it's not meaningful. It's like you've stretched it out
Do
all
you
this
think that
length.
Jesus doesn't deserve 2 months of celebration in your head?
Jesus also rose from the grave, and we celebrate Easter as well.
Yeah, you're right. I should celebrate that for longer, too.
Yeah, you should. Anyways, yeah, so
yes.
Here we are.
So here we are, CrossPoints Podcast with your hosts, Orah and David.
And David and Orah, so good.
We're so excited to be here this December. And we're talking about something that just...
Okay, hold it.
Okay.
Before
Please.
we talk about what we're going to talk about today, you are with child.
I am with child.
And I'm super excited about this
Thank
for you.
you.
It's baby number 3.
Number 3.
Okay.
My first boy.
Oh, your first boy?
My
Congratulations.
first boy.
That's so exciting.
And
name yet? You guys
we have
that?
a name.
You have a
it's
name.
a
What
secret.
is it? Oh, come on.
I know. This is the first time we've been secretive about the name. The
Really?
other two, we were like, this is what their name is.
Okay. But with the boy,
we finally
you're
learned our
like,
lesson, I think.
Oh, why? Did somebody steal your name or
No,
something?
I think people just like tell you too many opinions. They'll be like, oh, really?
Oh, it's
yeah.
like you get the initial reaction like, oh.
Yes.
Okay. Or, oh, that's awesome.
Yes,
you get
and
one of the
one
two.
time for my second daughter's name was something we didn't name her,
Okay.
but we were going to name her Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia from
which I loved.
Oh, that's cool.
And
that's cute.
but people would laugh when
No,
you said
they
like
would
they
not.
didn't think we were serious.
What?
Which it turns out we weren't. We didn't name her that, but
So
we loved
you
it. So this time,
hold it. I got to stop for a second because this leads into what we're going to talk about. You changed your mind because other people were like making fun of it.
well, I knew.
Or what?
Well, I actually knew that her middle name was going to be Karen after my husband's mom, who passed.
Who passed away. Right?
And I didn't want the alliteration. That's actually why we ended up changing Cassiopeia Karen.
Yeah.
I didn't like
that's
that
not really
together.
Okay.
That's actually why we changed it.
Okay.
But we had a lot of like we were like, ooh, people are really intense about this name. Like
People
they do
have strong
not like
feelings
it.
about names.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So we learned our lesson, and this
Okay.
time it's a secret.
All right.
Keep it a secret.
Phil Jr. Phil's her husband, by the way. That's what I'm banking on.
I know.
I'm for you, Phil.
Hey, if I didn't get to have an Orah Jr.,
Oh,
we're an equal opportunity
snap.
marriage.
Snap. Wow. Yes. Okay, that's great. Well, all right. David is the next best thing then, I guess. All right. Well, today we're going to talk about something that my wife is really jazzed about.
Oh, is she?
Oh, she loves this.
Oh, boy.
So tell everybody what we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about how you can live your life inside of a box.
What? Yes. I have already put you in a box, Orah.
We're talking about personality tests.
Yes, personality tests.
Specifically Enneagram, but any personality test.
An Ennea what?
Enneagram.
A pentagram? A what?
I know. It's as evil as the
Right. Seriously, I've had some people ask me, like, from a biblical perspective, like, they've heard about this thing called Enneagram, and is it, like, based in the occult? Is it, like, serious question? And so I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive to kind of answer that question.
And I will say I know a couple of my friends who are doing, in their small group, this is what they're doing. They're studying Enneagram.
Yeah, right.
Like, so churches are doing Enneagram.
Oh, 100%. So first thing you need to know about Enneagram, it's not pentagram, it's Enneagram, okay?
Yep.
It's 2 Greek words, right? I took Greek, so I know a little bit. I don't know a ton.
Cool guy.
I had to throw
Cool
that.
guy.
Kind of a big deal. No. So Ennea.
So what does it mean in Greek?
Ennea means 9.
Okay.
Okay? And gramma means like graph or drawing. So you
Okay.
put these together and it's like 9 and it's a drawing. And so it's this image and a drawing of 9 different kind of types.
Okay. That form a full figure.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, this we think now. What's so interesting about the Enneagram, and from a historical perspective, is that it's really hard. People have varying opinions of where this thing is rooted from.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay.
But I think I think to a large degree, most people would say that at least the beginnings of this whole Enneagram, not that that was necessarily, that word was used, but the beginnings of it were from the 4th century.
Okay.
So in the 300s, with what we would call the Desert Fathers, and I know I'm kind of getting technical here, but
Sounds cultish to me.
Yeah, I know, and it's not, right? These are contemplative pastors or
Okay.
monks that would sit and kind of think about how people respond and react and their personalities.
Okay.
People respond and are tempted in certain ways. Like you may be tempted for us in a certain area, and I may be tempted in a certain area, and we're different.
Okay.
And so then they wanted to kind of categorize that. And then out of that, later on in church history, you know about 7 deadly sins. Okay? So all of this is kind of rooted. And then in the 1900s, we have some crazy guys, okay, that kind of take this up and begin to kind of flesh it out a little bit more.
Okay.
And then in the 70s, it's kind of interesting. Jesuit priests begin to look at this.
Really?
And they begin to flesh this out a little bit more. And then it really begins to seep into the church, I think in a really positive way.
Okay.
And so now we have small groups and churches that are going through it. And I think the thing that convinced me.
Oh,
Okay.
you're convinced.
Yeah, I mean,
let the record show.
well, let me tell you what I mean by convinced.
Okay.
I'm convinced in the sense that I think it helps us identify who we are so that we can have compassion for others.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So it's different
Like
than
therapy.
Well, I don't know if you want to put therapy on there.
I mean, you're learning
she's
more about
already
yourself.
anti-Enneagram. I'm going to have to convince her, folks. Okay, if we want to start rooted from a biblical perspective
Okay.
on this, okay, and then what? But
Yes.
are you familiar with John Calvin?
Yes.
Okay, John Calvin, he's probably the foremost theologian that the world has ever known. I mean,
Calvinism.
yes, reformer, top 5 most impactful guy on the planet when it comes to Christianity.
Right under Pastor David.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So this is what he had to say. I put this quote out
Okay.
right here in my hot little hands just for you, Orah. This is what he had to say. And he writes this huge book called The Institutes. I don't know if you've ever heard
No.
of it. Oh my, it's like over 1,000 pages.
Okay.
Okay, it's crazy. It's his understanding of theology. And he
Okay.
talks about, but his opening statement is this.
Okay.
He says, without knowledge of self, there is no knowledge of God. Okay, let me say that one more time.
Okay.
Without knowledge of self, there's no knowledge of God. No one can survey himself without turning his thoughts towards God, because the gifts or skills we have and possess cannot possibly be from ourselves. Okay, that's not a direct quote because I had to change the language because he was actually his works are translated, and anyway, I wanted to make it.
He speaks fluent Greek, so he just made it.
Well, actually, he was French, but
Okay.
we won't go down there. Anyway, but the idea is that if we're going to really know God, we need to know ourselves.
Yeah,
And if we
okay.
really come to understand ourselves and we recognize that who we are and what we are really doesn't come from ourselves,
Okay.
it should point us back to God.
Okay.
Okay, and so
Cyclical. I like it.
you like it? Okay.
Okay.
So as a result of that, then knowing ourselves is important. And so I'm convinced tests like these or personality profiles like these help us look a little bit inward, okay? But the goal shouldn't be so that they look inward and put us in a box. They should actually help us make them be a window through which we look at other people.
Okay.
Ooh, did you see what I did?
I saw it. The box is the window. I see it.
Right?
Here's what
Orah doesn't want to be put in a box, folks.
I literally, my notes say,
Okay.
I don't want to be put in a box, is literally what I say. Enneagram, I don't want to be put in a box. That's
So what else?
Okay, well, here's the thing, and I want to specify this.
Okay.
I hated Myers-Briggs when it came out, which was another personality test that people were obsessed with for
Oh,
an elongated period
absolutely.
of time. INJP, or I just made those up. I don't
No,
know. There's
that's right. INJP. Absolutely.
There's
yeah.
letters you can do. It's the same kind of thing. And here's what I've realized.
Even going before that, there was the otter and the lion and the eagle. Did you ever hear about that? This was another before your time, Orah. But
Okay.
Yes.
Christians were really pro the love language test,
Yes.
which is maybe a little different, but
The
similar.
five love
languages,
yeah.
which I took
Gary
that one
Chapman.
at some point in life.
What's your love language, Aura?
Affirmation? I think
No?
words of affirmation and gifts.
And gifts.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'll put my address in the bottom. You guys just send everything.
Yeah. Christmas is coming, Phil. Words of affirmation. Give her some gifts. Anyway.
Cards and gifts.
Yeah,
It's my
okay.
season. But it's not so much. I'm realizing it's not so much the test that bothers me.
Okay.
It's the people who take the test that bother me.
Yes. You push against the fanatics.
Yes.
Who say you're an INJP.
Yes.
You're an otter. Yeah, you probably never heard that term before, but yes, whatever.
But people will be like, well, I'm such a 7 or something. And
Right.
you're like, what?
What are you talking about?
And that drives me nuts.
Okay, I want you to know I fully agree with you.
Okay,
That
I
drives
can't handle it.
me insane as well.
And let me say that, this isn't like an offshoot of people. It's not like, well, one person does that people do that all the time.
You know who you are, folks. Stop it.
Always.
No, really, it is a little bit irritating. It's like, listen, okay, if you have this information and knowledge, don't point it out at people. Use that as a perspective to help you kind of be more compassionate towards that person.
I feel as though if it's going to be your horoscope or therapy or whatever to learn more about yourself.
What? Oh, whoa, hold it. Orah, this is not some kind of horoscope thing. That's crazy. I got to push against that.
Is it something that you can look up and figure out where you fit and learn about
Oh,
yourself?
no, let me ask you a question. Don't you feel like certain people have personalities? I mean, you could categorize some people's personalities.
Yes, but I also believe in the ability to change and the ability to evolve.
I believe that, absolutely.
And then,
And I think people do change based on their environment and based on time.
But I think you're less likely to change if your foundation is in your number.
Really? So you think you put people in a box and they're probably going to stay there
They
if that's
feel
what
like-
they think.
They feel
that's
like,
who I am.
oh my gosh, yeah, I am
my
a
identity
4.
is rooted in that.
Yeah, well, I now know that I'm a 4, and that's why I'm like that. So
I think you have some bad baggage, Orah. I'm gonna have to work through this. Like, why do you feel so strongly about this? Because you think people get stuck?
I do. I think it's an excuse for poor behavior. I think people use it as an excuse for poor behavior.
And see, I would flip it on its head and say, if you're using personality tests, and I don't care what they are, Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, whatever it is, if you're using those to kind of put yourself in a box and you can put everybody else in a box, that's not the purpose and the design of these things.
Okay.
I really don't think so. I think it's to know yourself so then you can know God better.
Yeah.
And you can work with other people better. I think that's why businesses do this.
Yeah.
Because we have major problems with people getting along.
I know.
Let's get along, folks.
I know. It's really interesting because you think, we had to take them at Hallmark. We had to take Myers-Briggs at the Hallmark Corporation.
Did you work at Hallmark?
Did you know I worked at Hallmark?
I had no idea. Mind blown. It's going to have to be another episode. Okay, anyways, you worked at Hallmark.
I worked at the Hallmark headquarters.
Okay.
And we did that in
That's why you love the Hallmark Christmas movies. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. It all makes sense now. She's supporting Hallmark.
I'm so
oh
pro
my
Hallmark.
God.
They're an awesome company to work for. Apply if you haven't done it yet.
My mind just went crazy. Okay, yes, all right.
So you had to take in our division.
Okay.
You took this Myers-Briggs test.
Okay, yeah.
Which of course I was super excited about. And
so you came into it enthusiastic.
Wow.
I love this. Okay.
So you all right.
She's getting choked up, folks.
I know.
All right.
So we take the test and it's supposed to help you interact with your coworkers more.
Yeah, and that absolutely right. So that people can get along. They understand who that person is.
Here's the thing.
Okay,
I don't feel like I took away the people who I already was like, I don't know if I'm gonna mess with them. They had different letters, shocker, than me, and I don't think that did anything. It's not like I'm like,
well, then I don't think you did it right, Orah. I don't think you did it right.
Well, it's kind of like, yeah.
No, I'm going to push back on you a little bit, Orah. We're going to have a little bit of counseling session right here. Literally, those personalities, and again, whatever they are, I don't care, Enneagram, whatever, Myers-Briggs, they should always help us to put ourselves in the other person's shoes.
See,
I really believe,
okay.
I really believe that. If I know that someone tends to be maybe a domineering, pushing person, then I'm like, they're not doing that to irritate me. That's who they are. And so then okay, and I know you get irritated by that because you're like, well, you're putting them in a box. But I think God gives people certain personalities. I think there are stronger personalities and people that are more laid back. I think there are people that are more fun-loving and people that are more serious.
Yes.
Right?
But
And so if I know who they are, I can help then not put them in a box and say, well, they're doing that to kind of put their finger at me. That's kind of who they are. But not excusing their sin.
Wouldn't you also say that we live in one world?
Yes.
That people then just have to evolve to like react to like interact in a normal sense, regardless of if you're a bold person or if you're a shy person. If you're like, that's on your own time, like at work or whatever. Like you need to like if you're like a really intense person and you have these letters or numbers.
I am so disagreeing with you right now. I am so not even hearing what you're saying right now. I'm like, listen, you think people can turn their personalities off at work?
Well, okay.
I mean, that's what you're saying.
I'm not, because I think that you're saying you're likening it everything to the personality. I'm saying it's giving you an excuse to not rein in your personality or to not control your behaviors or to not...
No, I'm not saying give everybody license to be whatever. If they're a domineering person, then they can just take over and forget everybody else's feelings. I'm just saying that as an individual, if I can understand where people are and who they are and what their personality is, then I can lean into that and not be so frustrated with them.
Okay.
Like, I'll give classic examples. Like, here on our staff, we have a multitude of range of personalities. Mm-hmm. And we have the fun-loving, and we have the contemplative kind of personality, and we have the person that's, very serious thinker. We have all of those personalities. Mm-hmm. And we get together Monday through Thursday, and we do devotions. Mm-hmm. And so... invariably, I want everyone to talk. I want everyone to communicate. But we have 2 or 3 people that will not say a word because that's their personality. So I can get frustrated and go, guys, come on. You need to talk. You need to say something. You need to say, why aren't you saying something? Don't you like the group? Don't you like, because I'm more of the fun-loving guy. Yeah, okay. I want everyone to participate because that makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. But if I recognize that they're being who they are, and it's okay for me as the leader to say, hey, what do you think? Then they'll say something that's helping me help them and not getting frustrated at them for not saying anything in the first place.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, but did you need a number to do that? Or a test to do it?
Oh, I think it helps me.
You do? Okay.
Oh, I really do. Okay. Because I don't think a lot of people understand that. I think, again, this goes back to Calvin. I don't think a lot of people really know who they are.
Yeah, okay.
I really don't.
Okay.
I don't think people know who they are. They haven't thought about their personalities. I don't think a lot. Now, maybe if you're in the work world and you're in the business world and you've got that kind of training, maybe you've seen that. But for the vast majority of people, I think they're kind of clueless when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I think it's helpful to know yourself so that you can know God better, who he's created you to be, and who he's created others to be, so that I'm not like you and you're not like me, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Am I convincing you yet?
No,
okay.
Not remotely. Right. But I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I'm just not convinced that the Enneagram or the personality test will affect that in that stance. I'm like, well
then how do people then come to these conclusions then, so that they can understand that people are different than themselves?
Just conversation and deductive reasoning, just social intelligence. I don't know.
Would you agree that maybe there are different levels of social intelligence? Yes,
there totally are. There totally are. So maybe some people need the quiz.
Oh, okay, you heard it there.
Maybe
I got her. Okay, because I think there are different levels of social awareness, and some people just don't get it.
That's true. I guess I think again, I'm
because
thinking of the people...
Because you're an above-average person, see. So.
It's hard to be me.
Stroking her ego a little bit. She is a big deal. We try to say that at every podcast.
Hard to be having this podcast with the common man here. No, I think that the holdup for me is that I'm picturing even specific people who reference what they are regularly on Instagram or on whatever. And
you're pushing back on that.
So it's really hard for me
I think you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
It's almost like you almost aren't sure of people who've taken it who are normal.
Say that one more time.
You're almost not sure of people who have taken the Enneagram test who are just normal people, and not the people who take the Enneagram test who like find their foundation in the Enneagram test.
You're saying like me, if I'm sold on an Enneagram, that if somebody hasn't done it, then there's something wrong with them. Is that what you're saying?
Like because you're like people become so intense about the Enneagram, and that's who you think of for the Enneagram test.
But I think you're taking it to the extreme. I don't think most people are like that. I think there are some extremes, and maybe it gets a bad rap because of that.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that the people that I've interacted with, I think are the extreme, and I can't even think of somebody who's taken it who's been like, it helped me a lot.
That's great.
Like because it's just they're not the loud voice.
Well, I'll tell you, my wife loves it.
She does.
She really does, and it's been great. So I was going to say this too. Like, there's this Episcopal priest that has really kind of made the Enneagram kind of explode on the scene over the last 10 or 15 years or whatever. And he wrote a book, and my wife loves it. She's read most of it. I've read just the first couple of chapters, and it's really good. It's called The Road Back to You. We'll put a link in the description. It's by Ian Morgan Cron. Okay. Again, an Episcopal priest. He was a pastor as well, and he talks about his journey through this.
Okay.
And the reason my wife is so sold on it is because, again, it's helped her kind of reframe kind of her own personality, not in the sense of just her personality, but the reason why she responds in certain situations.
Okay.
Because we all grew up in certain environments. Mm-hmm. Okay. You grew up in a very different environment than I did. Mm-hmm. And we're a product of our environment to some degree, right? How you were raised really kind of forms how you respond, the responses that you make.
Totally.
And if you know that you are, like, you have a proclivity to respond a certain way, like maybe anger or frustration, or maybe you, like, get inside of yourself, if you understand that, then maybe you go, maybe that's not healthy for me. Mm-hmm. And so then I'm able to be aware of that and try not to respond in anger or frustration or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's not just saying I'm a fun-loving person or I'm a serious person or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I understand that because of how I grew up in that framework, then I can look at it and try to change that.
Yeah.
To make myself better.
Yeah. I'm pro introspection.
Okay.
I'm pro that.
Right.
I just don't think that. I think it's like, to me, it's like you're attending therapy, you're learning about yourself, and then you're going and you're telling everybody in the world around you about yourself.
Okay.
Where you're just like, okay, well, is that a personal journey that we all need to learn about? Like, or...
Got it.
I'm a 4, I'm a 7, I'm a 9. Like, it's like... So, but I like introspection. I think it's who wouldn't? That's great.
Yeah. I think that's good. Well, regardless, Enneagram, I would encourage any of our viewers out there, there's some free tests out there that you can take.
What are you? What's your number, David?
Well, I just took the test.
You did?
Because I am new to this whole thing.
Yes.
And so I am a 3.
You're a 3,
and I blend more that way, between a 3 and a 7. You don't know what these are.
I don't.
So a 3, I'll go over some of these.
Please.
A 3 is an achiever, success-oriented, but pragmatic.
Okay.
Likes to excel, driven, and a little bit image conscious.
Okay, I like it. All right.
Okay, that's what my wife thought that's who I was. Okay. But I also bleed into the enthusiast, which is number 7.
Okay.
Busy, fun-loving, spontaneous, versatile, distractible. I do get distracted. A little have ADD kicking in. That's fine. So those are 3s and 7s. There's 9 again. So 1 is a reformer. Okay. They're principled, purposeful, self-controlled.
Okay.
A helper, number 2. Caring, generous, people-pleasing.
Okay.
Okay. The achiever, I talked about that. That's a 3. A 4 is an individualist, sensitive, the withdrawn type. Okay. Mm-hmm. Dramatic, maybe a little bit self-absorbed.
Okay.
Okay. 5 is the investigator, intense, cerebral, perceptive.
Okay.
Okay. 6, the loyalist, committed, secure-oriented type, engaging, responsible.
Okay.
Okay. Again, 7, the enthusiast, busy, fun-loving. Okay. 8, the challenger.
Okay.
Powerful, dominating type, likes to take over, right?
Yeah.
And then the peacemaker, easygoing, self-effacing type.
Okay.
So my wife is an easygoing, self-effacing type, kind of reassuring and agreeable. So she's a 9.
What do you think I am, David?
I think that you are a 7. A busy,
an enthusiast,
fun-loving, spontaneous. Right. I think that's you
all
are.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
Anyway, but now to be clear, like, all of these, these are just tools to help us, not boxes to put people in.
Yeah.
Okay. And hopefully these things are used so that we can see other people, not just ourselves.
Yes, that would be ideal.
Help us get better.
Yeah.
So the Enneagram, take the test. I think it's kind of fun.
Let us know what your horoscope is. I mean, your Enneagram is. I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I snapped. What am I going to do with her? What am I going to do with her? I love it.
Yeah, let us know if you've taken the test and what you think of it. And don't forget to follow us and like us, subscribe, and leave us a review on a podcast app if you're listening to us that way.